Hello, I'm Nicole and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm sharing with you a recent release project with Altenew. This is as a part of their May 2021 release video hop, and I'm featuring the project that I call Wabi Sabi Ginkgo. As a part of this video hop, Altenew is having a giveaway, so check down in the description to see all of the details. This project features the new Sweet Ginkgo and Carpe Diem stamp sets, both from this latest May release entitled Exotic Garden. For this project, I wanted to employ a technique known in Japan as Kintsugi. This is often associated with the ideal of wabi-sabi, and it means finding pleasure in aged and worn objects and to value their blemishes as beautiful. So I wanted to recreate the idea of a piece of pottery that had been repaired with a gold seam. And as you'll see here, it's actually quite easy to do. I'm starting off with a piece of green cardstock that I already have cut down to my A2 card size. What I'm going to do here is create a beautiful pattern using all of the different sized ginkgo leaves. In order to make a successful pattern, there's a few things that I need to keep in mind. One, the varying sizes of the leaves, and two, that this should look like a piece of paper cut from a larger piece of paper. So in order to do that, I have to make sure that I'm stamping off the edges. To get a really nice balanced pattern, I didn't want to add too many of the larger images to begin with. There's quite a few different sizes in this entire stamp set, so I thought it would be best to employ all of them to create nice variation in the pattern. I really don't have a pattern per se, except that everything is just kind of random. As you can see, I'm moving my images off the edge of the cardstock and not putting too many of one image. There needs to be some breathing room in between so that it doesn't all look squished up together. So I'm only really getting 2 or 3 of any image, and usually they're being cut off by the edge of the cardstock, so it's really just partial images in many instances. As I wrap up my stamping here, I'm using my final image, and I'm not going to do anything else as far as adding color to this. Because I'm using the green cardstock, I don't have any need to add in any more detail to the leaves. Here's where the Kintsugi part comes in. I have my completed piece of background paper, and to make this look realistic, I decided to go ahead and rip my paper in two. This gives me a nice organic seam that I can use to do my gold line across. Instead of trying to freehand it, I thought that might look a little better if I actually ripped the paper. So here I am putting my paper right back together. And this isn't really going to matter. It's going to get added to my card base, so you're never going to see that. And I have a beautiful organic rip line to work from. In hindsight, I would have glued the whole thing back together to keep those two torn pieces together a little better, but this worked okay. To create the actual gold seam, I'm going to do some embossing, but I'll be using the antique gold pigment ink to get that embossing powder in place. I've just added some to an acrylic block here and with a little bit of water, and I've got my brush that I will go ahead and apply that to the torn line. This again is going to help with that kind of organic feel, and it's also going to get enough ink in place that the embossing powder will stick to it. As you can see, I just went ahead and added that gold paint all the way down and then added in my gold embossing powder, and I'll go ahead and heat that up. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and work up my sentiment. I've got a piece of black cardstock here that I'm prepping for some more heat embossing. I'll be using the antique gold pigment ink as my embossing ink. It's a really great alternative to a clear embossing ink. I can see exactly where my sentiment is and that it's been stamped properly, and it also serves as a way to add additional golds to the embossing in case I happen to miss a spot. Of course, that comes together very quickly, and this card is almost done. I have my background piece with the Kintsugi already in place on a card base, and I just need to add my sentiment. So I'll go ahead and use some of our new adhesive foam and add that as a quick strip on the back of my sentiment strip. This card doesn't need any other embellishment. It's a little bit of gold accents, and the beautiful ginkgo leaves is just perfect all on its own. I'm really looking forward to trying this technique with other projects, perhaps even mixing and matching two projects together by tearing them at the same time. It's a really fun idea to have in your crafter's toolbox. I'll be back soon with other tips, tricks, techniques, and tutorials, but until next time, happy crafting. Help support my craft education efforts by giving this video a thumbs up and clicking on the subscribe button and bell so you'll get notified when I create new content just for you. If you're looking for some more crafty inspiration, how about one of these videos?